Log 3, April 6, 1000 hours. Ramirez seems to want to go back, probably to try to find Marcus. He told us nothing, but he keeps turning in the direction from which he came. Me and Blaskowski went there shortly after midnight with Ramirez, shuffling along and somewhat leading the way. I just got back a little while ago. What happened was this. We took the redacted and the echo map. Ramirez struggled to walk down what I can only describe as a hardball boulevard. It was about 4 or 5 lanes wide, similar to an interstate, but there was no declination to say that it was a roadway for anything other than feet. On either side were these low-slung buildings, clearly not meant for bipeds of our size. Heck, probably not for bipeds at all. They look a little like dog houses. The road went on like that for about half a click. Then we came to one of the more large structures that I've previously reported on, the ones with 10-foot doorways. Ramirez started this god-awful low moaning, and as we looked ahead, I think I know the reason why. I only wish we had got the hell out of there rather than continue. Ahead of me was what I would call a pyramid. Dr. Bright calls them ziggurat. I don't even know or care what the hell the difference is. The thing that struck me the most, however, was that in the center of the end of the boulevard was a redacted, and also Peter's company jacket. I think that's why I was stupid enough to go on inside. I had to find out if my brother was still alive. There were some discarded ammo clips still loaded. Probably the bullets would not fire. A couple of canteens and a snapped-off blade, but there was no sign of the men. Almost the minute we stepped inside, Ramirez let out this ungodly roar and ran into the Stygian depths. I tried to grab him, but it was to no avail. As far as I know, he didn't even have a light. We tried to follow the sound of his moaning down the hallway, but it quickly branched off into half an odd dozen different directions. Ramirez, his moans and undulations could be heard for at least 5 minutes afterward, but we never really did find him, at least not alive. I knew we would need a way of mapping the area in case the echo failed, so me and Blaskowski started doing checks. We went up to the first room, left to the next room, up to the next room, and left again. That's where we found it. Marcus's body. Well, most of it at any rate. His left arm, torso, and left leg were missing. Seriously, the guy lost his torso. It appeared as if part of the wall came down on him. The only reason I knew it was him was he was still wearing his bird tag on his right pinky and his flesh tag on his right ankle. The block on his body made it impossible to get him out from under it. Blas said that we should just leave him there, and I thought it was a good idea, especially when we heard the sound of what seemed to be an old-school schlock horror movie pterodactyl. The sound echoed and magnified, and increased Ramirez's screams that came from somewhere in the distance in response to it. At least I think it was him. We tried to get our bearings. The room we were in was a dead end, so we went back down and right, and we found a wall that looked as if it had been there for centuries. There was no way back that we could find. The hash mark on the wall was right there where we left it, but it was quite literally cut in half, as if the wall had been built over it in the 10 or so minutes since we put it there. Blas just kept saying it wasn't empirically possible. It wasn't empirically possible. I think he started slipping even then. We marked the rooms out as such, since none of them seemed to have more than 4 doorways. We marked the doors with 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but we went through doors 2, 2, and 2, in dead end. We had the same result with rooms 3s and 4s. So we went back to start, and the wall was open as if it had never been there. The original check mark was still on the wall. It was then that me and Blas knew we had to get out of there. The hallway led to daylight. Ramirez could scarcely be heard moaning somewhere in the labyrinth. As we worked our way to the exit, Blas took up the rear and I covered point. I only wish to God that I never did. 20 yards from the door, the ceiling came down on top of Blas, literally the whole ceiling. It was as if a massive slab had been gently put down on top of him with crushing force. It was only one block. Hell, I couldn't even call it a cave-in. This 10-foot slab just crushed him. And I remember the dreams. I remembered the dreams. Somehow I had known from these dreams that this would happen. The dreams are telling me. Redacted. I do not know if they're portentous or have already occurred. It's just so strange. I only half remember the walk back down the boulevard to camp. McCoy tried to get me to tell him what happened. I could not even speak for the longest time. The idea of the dreams kept coming up. Apparently there was a gash on my forehead a couple inches long. Don't even know how I got it. It was 10 minutes before I could even fill in McCoy and Bright. And Bright just kept telling me that it was a ziggurat and to stop calling it a pyramid. God, I hate that guy. Well, that's the log. Sarah's still out of commission. I've got no soldiers left. And McCoy and Bright, they just keep going on about the science of it all. Jones thinks he's got that sphere working. It's a little confusing, but it makes some damn kind of holograms. Jones is still working on it. I'll let you know if he gets anything figured out. Or if he just dies, like everybody else. I guess it really depends on the dreams. And log 3.